Yes, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So, hope you're all keeping well and having a great week. But we are currently 4 weeks out from my first bodybuilding show, and it is currently 3:30 in the morning. My sleep is absolutely fucking shafted, and I don't know why. Like I said previously, no fat burners are in, so it's not like Clen is absolutely thumping me, which was the case last year. My sleep was in the bin last year, but I put that down to Clen as well. Whereas this year we're not even using any fat burners like Clen. So I don't know what it is personally. I don't know what it is, but every morning without fail, 5 to 3, 3 o'clock, I'm up. When I'm up, I'm up. So I come downstairs, weigh, update my to-do list, clear WhatsApp, and then I just get straight into check-ins. But it is something that I've got to sort out, in my opinion. Body weight is staying stagnant. I was up in body weight this morning by only like zero point 0.2, don't get me wrong. But I feel as if with stress being higher slightly, when we're not sleeping properly, feel as if it is having a negative impact, and the thing is, I can function off 3 to 4 hours sleep, but from a physique side of things, you need to be getting more. You need to be getting more. If someone that was working with me was sleeping the duration I was, I'd be on to them like a fucking hawk saying you need to sort this shit out. So if I'd be saying that to them, then why do I think it's acceptable for myself? The standards I hold myself to, the standards I hold my clients to, and sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night is not good at all. It's not good at all. Potentially down to the heat. I know we've got the heat wave in the UK at the minute. Potentially down to that. But even before the heat wave, it was fucking dog shit. So I don't know. I've ordered some supplements. So Train by JP Unwind. Hopefully that will help. I think that'll be coming either today or tomorrow. And I'll just fucking OD on that shit because I am fucked here. Sleep is ruined. But to-do list is all up to date. Check-ins to power through. I've got my check-in with Ben, check-in with Case, couple of calls this evening. It is a rest day, which is a good thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a local gym. I'm going to go in the sauna. Well, it's a rest day, but I've got my cardio. So I'll do abs, cardio. I'll go in the sauna. I'll try and unwind a little bit, and then potentially go and work in Starbucks afterwards. We'll see. But yeah, that's just a quick little update. Body weight sitting at 19.4. I would have put the check-in photos on the screen, check-in photos or check-in videos of how I'm looking. And yeah, we just attack today. We take every day as it comes. And that's what it's all about now. Is not like I'm not focused purely on outcome. I'm focused on destination, journey, and the work that gets put in to get to where you want to. So I'm here, I want to get to there. But what I'm focusing on is the daily actions to get me that result. And then what happens on the day, happens on the day. So as long as I do my absolute best, hit everything, which I am, in all fairness, like I haven't missed a fucking beat in this prep, but the only thing that I need to improve that is holding me back, in my opinion, is my sleep. So I need to get that nailed, because doing check-ins at 3:15, 3:30 in the morning when my mum and dad are asleep upstairs is never ideal, because in the back of my head I'm like, oh, I don't want to be too loud in case I wake them up. So they're probably not my biggest fans at the minute, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But we're going to do a few more check-ins. I'm going to have my coffee and, have my first meal in the next 3 hours, because I need to do my check-in photos first as well. And that is my cream of rice, rest day cream of rice, slightly bigger, which I'm fucking looking forward to. But I haven't prepped my food, so I haven't prepped my food this morning for today, for the main reason it is my check-in day and calories may come down. We'll see. Body weight stayed stagnant, but we'll see. We'll see what the crack is. And then when I get my feedback from Ben, I'll prep my food. So I'll probably have my cream of rice, my bagel and eggs. I'll go to the gym, and then probably by the time I come back, I'd have had my feedback anyway. And then I can come back and prep my food for the day. So let's attack the fucking day, 4 weeks out. Hope you're all having a great week. Let's fucking go. So what I do find helps me massively in this prep as well, and just in general, is having my routine laser focused. Like, yes, sleep is in the bin, don't get me wrong, but I don't miss a single beat. And the reason being is how good my routine is. You know, like in the evening, should I say, in the evenings, I get everything all planned for the following day. So what I'll do is when work is all done today, for example, so when I'm getting off my last call tonight, what I will do is I will clear all WhatsApps so that my to-do list is all done, and then I'll start planning for the following day. You know, so I'll write out my tasks for tomorrow. I'll get everything all up to date. You know, I'll write down exactly what I have to do. And then I also do my supplements the night before. So for example, all my morning supplements that I take, I will put them into like a shot glass the night before for the following morning, just so that when I wake up, I'm not like opening loads of like vitamins. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not going to be the end of the world if I was to forget, you know, but I'd rather wake up. My first meal is in the fridge, ready to go. My supplements are in that shot glass, ready to go. And then I wake up, come downstairs, weigh myself, take my creatine, take my electrolytes, and then I take my supplements, which I suppose I could do like a separate video on like what supplements that I do take. And then, yeah, I just crack on with my day then. You know, it's super productive because I allow myself to be productive, you know, making sure that the night before things are ready for the following day. So I'm not waking up thinking, right, let's get this ready. You know, it's the same with my clothes. Like every night before bed, I'll lay out my clothes for the following morning. So as soon as I wake up, I just get out of bed, I pick up my clothes and I come downstairs. So I'm super productive. Like I was up at, what time was it this morning? I think like 2 minutes past 3. Well, by 3:15, I was changed. I'd taken my electrolytes, I'd taken my creatine and taken my supplements, and I'd already like got into work. And that's after like 15 minutes of me opening my eyes. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a very morning person. So when I'm awake, I don't have to like come round for like an hour. But I do put that down massively to my routine. So if you're struggling to be productive in the mornings, nail your nighttime routine in the sense of what you have to do the following morning, whether it's supplements, whether it's getting your clothes out. Get those non-negotiables nailed and you'll find that you'll be far more productive in the mornings then. So that is meal one down as well. So that was my cream of rice meal that I've had, and I've had my feedback from Ben as well. So I've started prepping my food for today. There's going to be no direct changes, like food isn't going to come down, cardio isn't going to get increased. We're going to keep things the same, but what is going to change is we are going to run a high day tomorrow, just because like I'm super flat at the minute. Like my arms are flattening off, you know, there's not that much pop through my delts, bis and tris. So we're going to utilize a high day tomorrow, and what we're going to do is we're going to put it around sort of like how I'm going to be on stage, you know, where we're going to do meal one, then pre-workout, and then I'll do post-workout shots as well. But I'm looking forward to it, to be fair. Or if you would have watched my 30 sushi roll refeed, didn't really sit well, didn't digest well. So we're just going to do it from clean food, which, to be honest with you, like, if Ben was to say, like, right, you can have a Five Guys tomorrow night, or you can have a Five Guys tonight to fill for tomorrow, or we can run 800 grams of carbohydrates through clean food, I do clean food. So what has been increased is carbohydrates, and protein's been pulled down slightly. So tomorrow what I'll do is have 150 cream of rice, berry stays the same, whey's come down to 20, 30 dark chocolate, honey's gone up to 20 grams, squares are at 2, so 2 squares bars there. Then I'll train, so pre-workout 4 squares bars. Then I'll go into my post-workout meal, which will be 150 Frosties, 20 whey, 10 honey, 2 squares bars. And then I'll go into my chicken and rice, so 150 chicken, 120 rice, 50 greens. And then I'll go into another chicken and rice meal, 150 chicken, 120 jasmine, 2 green beans, 50 grams of greens, 2 squares, and then my final meal, beef mince, 75 grams of jasmine rice, and then 50 grams of veg. So we're going to be having 10 squares bars tomorrow, which will be a fucking treat, to be fair. Little bit more honey, more frosties, more cream of rice, more jasmine rice. Proteins come down slightly through whey, chicken and beef. And then green beans have come down as well. So my veg has gone down just so it just sits a little bit better. So that will take me tomorrow to 4,700 calories, 196 protein, 801 carb, 80 grams of dietary fat. So I'll do fasted photos tomorrow. I'll do post-workout photos, which would be nice. I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully fill the tank up slightly. Like, we're 4 weeks and 4 days out from competition. Conditions there. Yes, there's more to come off, don't get me wrong, and I will get more off, but what we don't want to do is just like run super flat at the minute. So we dig, we fill, we dig, we fill, and we just simply repeat. So because food will be a lot higher tomorrow, it'll just be a case of eat, walk in between work. So I'm looking forward to that, but we're going to get back into check-ins now. Rice is in the rice cooker, chicken's in the air fryer. Leave that cook, put that into the Tupperwares, and then next meal will be my bagel and eggs, and then I'll probably head to do my cardio after that then. Just finished my catch-up call with Ryan, and what we were just going over is his new training plan. You know, now that he's going into his off-season with the goal to compete in 2027, we just reviewed his training, you know, like where we needed a little bit more volume, and we're keeping the training plan the same, just a few different exercises, and also getting some more lateral raises in as well. So just had a meal, bagel and eggs gone down, and we're just 13 minutes into this walk at the minute, just replying to WhatsApps, and I thought, when I pick up the camera. So the plan of action, the good thing is, as bad as my sleep is, I'm so productive with work and I'm getting so much done on a day-to-day basis. You know, like the way that I run the business with like check-in feedbacks is, say you check in on a Tuesday, you get feedback Wednesday. Check in on a Wednesday, feedback Thursday. It's always the day after, because then it doesn't put as much pressure on the people that are working with me to be like, oh, I've got to check in before 8 a.m, for example. But there are a lot of people like myself where you get your check-in done nice and early. Like I got my check-in over at like 6 a.m. this morning, and I had my feedback early, you know, and that's what I'll be doing today now. Like I've done all, or what day even is it? Tuesday. I've done all the Tuesday check-ins, so they've all had their feedback, and I'm just going to get ahead of the Wednesday feedbacks. So the people that are expecting their check-in on a Wednesday, I'll just get it over to them the day before, just because I'm ahead of myself massively. I've got to plan captions for results that are going to be posting over the upcoming weeks with the lads that have done the photo shoot. Plan a post tonight, you know, a couple of calls this evening. So we're just getting ahead of ourselves massively. Prep my food for tomorrow. I'll do that tonight. I'll prep my food tonight for tomorrow, which is going to be good. A little bit more food going in, and we're just getting it done. So I'm on 4,000 Jesus. I'm on 4,100 steps at the minute. We got 10k to box off. We got cardio to do, and I'm gonna go in the sauna later, which I'm looking forward to be fair. So gonna get these steps boxed off now, and then back into phase 2 check-ins. We are powering through work today. We're on an absolute mission. So I'm just going to get my next meal ready, which is going to be chicken, rice and veg. So I'll put the macros on the screen for this meal itself. But I just thought I'd touch on as well my quality of work and the standards. You know, for myself, I will never class myself as a bodybuilder, you know, like I love bodybuilding, don't get me wrong. I've done it for years, you know, but I don't class myself as a bodybuilder, and I wouldn't ever say that I am. I live the bodybuilding lifestyle, I'm not a bodybuilder. You know, for me, my main passion and what gets me going and gets me excited is coaching. You know, so throughout this prep and even last year's photo shoot prep when I took it to the extreme as well, you know, I will not let my standards drop ever, you know, because at the end of the day, coaching is what I love the most. So it's one of those, like when I'm dieting down, if the quality of my work was to ever drop, well, saying that, it just wouldn't. It just wouldn't. And if anything, when I'm in a prep, I work harder. You know, my sleep goes to fucking shit so I can be so productive. You know, like I've done all of the Tuesday check-ins, Wednesday check-ins are getting their feedback sent out. You know, and I will just never let my standards drop from a coaching standpoint. You know, like the 2 photo shoots coming up. Well, we done 1 photo shoot, already been and gone. We got another one Saturday. And I've booked in for another photo shoot at the start of August, so August the 9th. I think there's going to be about 4 or 5 lads on that one. You know, that's what really fucking lights me up, you know, is getting other people to achieve their truest fucking potential, you know. So that's one thing that I would definitely not let slip, you know, in the sense of my standard of work, you know, and I can confidently say that my clients would back me on that. You know, the ones that work with me firsthand, one-to-one, you know, I can confidently say that from when prep started, as hard as it is with low food, low energy, fatigue's higher, sleeps in the bin, you know, I can confidently say that they will all say that the quality of my work does not dip. You know, because at the end of the day, that is what is the most important thing to me, is standards, extremely high standards. So I just thought I'd touch on that anyway, because even though I can be fucked, even though fatigue is high and I can be very tired on a day-to-day basis, my clients wouldn't know. My clients wouldn't know that I feel like I've been hit by a bus every day, because at the end of the day, they invest in themselves. They put their trust in me to get them the physique that they're after. Why the fuck would I drop my standards because I'm feeling tired, because I'm in a prep? It's my decision to be in a prep. So at the end of the day, yeah, I'm tired. Yeah, I'm craving and I'm hungry and all these things, you know, but at the end of the day, I've got a job to do, you know, and that job is to provide a service at the highest standard I possibly can. So if you are a client of mine watching this, comment below, back me. You know, you know that the standards don't drop around here. You know that standards don't drop. And that is why we produce the results that we do produce, which is fucking world class. So I'm going to make this, I say make the meal, I'm going to heat the meal up. I'm using 8 grams of pink salt per day. I'm having like 7 to 8 litres of water, 8 grams of pink salt. We'll have this, we'll power through some more check-ins, we'll do some steps. And then we'll go to the gym and get my cardio boxed off. I don't think I'll film anything in the gym. It's just cardio. You know, I'll probably pick back up later because I don't want this YouTube video to go on for fucking ages. And I want to touch on what the title of this video is, which is obviously Prep Series 4 weeks out. But am I on anabolic steroids? And I will give my honest opinion. So you'll have to wait until I reveal. Yes, team, so we're back from the gym. So that is cardio and arms. Cardio, a little bit of arms and abs boxed off, and then we done the Stairmaster afterwards as well. So what I like to do is when I do my rest day cardio, I tend to just throw in like a little bit of arms or a little bit of abs just to make the gym exciting to go to. So there's that boxed off, came back, had my chicken and rice. I've prepped my food for tomorrow, so my high day. What I'm probably going to do is film that for YouTube as well. You know, I just want to bang these YouTubes out to document the process, you know, and hopefully give you guys some value as well. But before I get into my evening block of work, so it's 5:20 at the minute, going to power through some more check-ins. Got a couple of calls at 6:30 and 7:30. Then I've got my final meal, my cream of rice. But to cap off the video, I thought what I would touch on is, am I running anabolic steroids? So I've got 5 questions. I got 5 questions noted down. that I thought it would be good to expand on. So number one, well, yes, I am running anabolics. So I am running anabolic steroids. I have been for, I would say, coming up to around 20 months now. And what I want to start off by saying as well is I am no fucking wizard when it comes to anabolic steroids. It's like I have a very good understanding. I feel like I do, but I'm not at like this crazy, crazy level of like super in-depth understanding of steroids. Is it something I want to learn? Of course it is. It was a little bit of the reason why I wanted to go on as well, in terms of just learning about it, and it sort of forced me to learn more about it. I've got lads that are on gear myself, like that are working with me. So I just wanted to learn more about the assisted side. So let's dive into why I decided to go on and how long I was thinking about it. So to start off, how long was I thinking about going on anabolic steroids? This is no word of a lie. I'm 27 now. I was probably thinking about jumping on anabolic steroids from the age of like 19. I knew in my head it was always something that I was going to do. Jumping on anabolic steroids, I was always going to do it. But what I wanted to do is to push myself naturally as far as I could. Could I push myself further? Yeah, I could have. I could have stayed natural a little bit longer, maybe done like a natural bodybuilding show. But I pushed myself to an insane condition naturally, and I learned a shit ton about myself, don't get me wrong. But I've always liked the assisted bodybuilding look. Not fucking massive, don't get me wrong, but like the big delts, the big chest, just fucking bigger than a natural, and I've always wanted to do it. Number one, to see how it feels. Number two, of course, for the aesthetics. It will make me look better. I'll train hard. Not that I'll train harder, but I'll progress my numbers better, and it just amplifies what you're already doing well. For me, when I hopped on gear, I could follow a meal plan consistently all year. My training, I honestly can't remember the last time I missed a training session. And I would confidently say that in the last like 5 years, unless I've been forced into a deload, or if I've been on like a holiday where I don't have access to a gym, I've not missed a gym session. Same with steps, same with cardio. Like, I'm so militant that I knew that taking gear, is just gonna move me forward because everything else was dialed in. Now, I know people that are taking gear, grams and grams of gear, they don't even look like they're taking gear because they train like a fucking pussy. They can't follow a diet plan for longer than 3 weeks. And they just think that gear is going to solve all the problems. And that's not the case at all. So how long I was thinking about going on it, I don't want to go on too much of a tangent here, but how long? I would say over 5 years. Now, why I decided to go on? For me, I just think it was the perfect time. I hadn't long moved to Dubai. It was funny because like my goal when I moved to Dubai was like, right, let's move to Dubai. Let's focus on fitness work, do some runs and just stay in shape all year, and then it was a case of 2 months in Dubai. I think it was around 2 months, 2 or 3 months in Dubai, hopped on gear, big off season, put on 20 kilo, and when I'm in Dubai, same with anything, it's even same down here, my routine is bulletproof, and I've always wanted to compete. I've always wanted to compete in bodybuilding, it's just a matter of when, and I've always wanted to do it assisted. So the decision to go on was a conversation I had with my coach, to see what his opinion was. I've worked with him for the past 6 years, so he understands me as a person, he understands my values. And then when I personally decided, yeah, okay, I am going to make that leap, a couple of weeks later, I was going to Italy for my cousin's wedding. So me and my father, I had a conversation with him. I said, look, Dad, this is something that I'm going to be doing. What is your thoughts? And in all fairness, like he said, you are a man, you're going to do what you want to do. And you've got good people in your corner. The gym that I train in the dungeon, if I have any questions, I can always ask them. Number one is my coach, though. He understands me. And my old man also knows that I'm not going to take the piss and just go hell for leather on it. He knows I'm in good hands. He knows I'm sensible, and was sort of excited for me, because he also knew my reason why. My reason why for going on gear wasn't to be the biggest in a beach club or the most shredded in a beach club. It was for bodybuilding goals and to help with my career to a certain extent. So when I decided to go on was around 2 years ago, and then how long I was thinking about it, like I said, about 5 to 6 to be fair. And then have I had any side effects? So complete transparency, the only side effect that I have had is sensitive nipples. That would be the only side effect. Like my hair is still fine. I'm not receding. Spots, I haven't broken out once with any bad spots. In terms of like mood swings, is it the gear or is it a deficit? Poor sleep, low food, high cardio. If I was to ask my missus, she'll probably say that I do have mood swings, and no doubt about it, I will, but everyone does in a prep setting. I feel as if I'm very level-headed in an off-season. I feel as if I can sometimes let my emotions get the best of me when I'm hungry and very fatigued. But in terms of overall, like your general side effects, I would just say the sensitive nipples. And to be honest with you, that fucked my head massively. Like the thought of being in great shape but having puffy nipples and gyno, was frying my fucking head. It's in control now. It's not gone bigger, and I thought I could feel it when I was like 20 to 21, dabbling with fucking Psalms and shit, but it was one of those where I could feel it. I felt it on the chest supported row and I was like, oh my God, I'm growing fucking tits. And then I took some supplements for it. We're monitoring it. We're keeping it nice and controlled. I don't let body fat go too high. And in all fairness, you probably can't notice it anyway. I hope so anyway. So yeah, that would be the only side effect. And then, is it expensive? Depends. All depends. Like, test isn't really that expensive, but then when you've got other compounds in, like Primo, like growth hormone, then it can ramp up, And it's not just the PED side. Like, a lot of people think about investment and cost when it comes to running anabolics as just the anabolics itself, but that isn't that expensive compared to blood work and supplementation. I take heart, liver and kidney stack every morning and every night, and each month that costs me about £150. I've been running gear for coming up to 2 years, so if you were to do 150 times 24, fucking hell, 3,600. So £3,600 over the last 2 years of running gear, running these health supplements. That's only the health supplements that's cost me. That is not with the anabolics, and that is not with blood work as well. Blood work can be range from 100 to £200 every time you run bloods. If you run bloods every 8, 12, 16 weeks, however long it may be, that adds up, so it is expensive, and what I would say is if you are running anabolic steroids or you're thinking about running anabolic steroids, you've got to take these things into account. Don't just fucking blast whatever and not take any health supplements, because the vial of tests costs you 30 quid and the heart, liver and kidney stack costs 150. A vial of tests could last you 8 to 10 weeks. That will probably cost 30 to 40 quid. Heart, liver and kidney stack will last you a month for 150. But you don't want to look great and your health be in the fucking bin. So take that into account as well. And then the last question, like I said, I don't want to go on too much of a tangent here. I'm already 11 minutes in talking about this, is would I recommend it? Now, once again, it sort of depends again. I would never push anabolics on anyone. Everyone that I've worked with over the past 5 to 6 years that have worked with me one-to-one, I've never pushed them on drugs. Never pushed them on PEDs. It's the same with fat burners. I've heard of some horror stories before where you're not like a client isn't losing body fat, and the next thing you know, their coach is giving them T3, Clen, fucking Retta, all this shit. I've never done that because I want them to do it the most sustainable way. At the end of the day, running anabolic steroids is not going to be sustainable. When I come off anabolics, there is a high chance that I am going to lose a lot of my muscle. So it's one of those where I don't coach just to get a quick result. Get people on all these supplements, anabolics, fat burners, just to get before and after, and then ruin their health along the process. But if that person is generally serious, and they have a strong reason why they want to hop on anabolics, then not that I would recommend it. I'd give my personal opinion. There's been some people who have asked me about running anabolics before, and I've just said, mate, it's not going to be for you. And that just boils down to the fact that they can't be consistent with training and nutrition in the first place. If you can't follow a meal plan and you can't follow a training plan consistently, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, then do not be taking anabolic steroids, because you can take all the gear under the sun, eat like a fucking dickhead, and you won't change. You're just going to mangle your health throughout the process. But there's other clients that have come to me, spoke about anabolic steroids. We've had a very good conversation, a serious chat, and they've made the leap to anabolics. Because I know their reason why they actually want to go on it in the first place. And it sort of aligns with the goals. Like if someone was to say to me like, oh, should I jump on test and Anavar just to go to fucking Marbella? No, bro. Like, absolutely not. You're going to ruin your health to get hammered and potentially drugged up in Marbella. Like, that is stupid in my opinion. If you're going to run anabolics, in my opinion, you need to think of it as like a long-term thing. Not how much can I do in 8 to 10 weeks on a little test and Anavar blast before your lad's holiday, which I know is very common. Trying to think, I definitely didn't do it myself, but definitely dabbled with SARMs before like the odd trip or as summer was approaching. But that's probably what fucked my gyno up in the first place. Not that it's big, but the gland is a little bit puffy. So yeah, I would just say if your vision aligns with it, if your vision aligns with it, like mine does, obviously competitive bodybuilding, but at the same time, guys, like when I started taking gear, I said to myself, I'm going to do it for a year. I'm going to do it for a year. The year went, I done it for the photo shoot. As soon as I was approaching the end of the photo shoot, I was like, I'm going to compete next year. So that year that I said that I was going to be on gear has now gone to 2. Now I can be in a bit of a rabbit wheel. If I do very well competing this year and get very good feedback, in the back of my head, shall I chase more? Shall I chase more wins? Shall I chase a pro card? Shall I go on gear for another year? Big off season after this, go into prep next year, potentially not do as well as I want, do it gear for another year, off-season prep. You can get into, in my opinion, from what I'm thinking, you can get into a bit of a spiral with it. And there will be a time where I do come off, and my thought process and what I'm sure will happen is after bodybuilding this year, I will more than likely taper off. I'll gradually come down. When I get back to Dubai, it'll just be like TRT. And then I would have thought by the end of the year, I'll probably be completely off. And then my goals will still be the same in the sense of train like a bodybuilder, because that's what's built the physique, but then go from more of like a healthy standpoint. Because for me, kids are super important, and I wouldn't want to do something that is going to jeopardize. Is jeopardize a word? Jeopardize that, and that would be my biggest fear. If fertility was not an issue, running anabolic steroids, there was zero chance of something fucking up. I'd run anabolics for ages. I enjoy taking steroids. I'll openly admit it. I enjoy taking anabolic steroids. I'm 90 kilo lean. There's no chance I'd be 90 kilo lean without anabolics. My training's in a good spot. I've got a good amount of pop to me. I enjoy taking anabolic steroids. I've got nothing against it. And after kids, I will more than likely jump back on anabolic steroids. But I don't want to fuck that up in terms of kids. So that would be the main reason why I would come off. But I thought I'd just be completely honest and transparent. With this YouTube channel, like if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that it's just photos, reels, results, value, personal journey, and don't get me wrong, it's great. But on YouTube, where I can do more long form content, you can just understand me more as a person, and like my personality, why I do certain things. Like I've just spoke about gear for 16 minutes on why I've taken it. You ain't watching an Instagram reel for 16 minutes, about me. So that's why I'm enjoying the YouTubes, because I can just show you more about myself, and like I said, I hope you guys take value away from it. I enjoy putting these YouTube videos out. Yes, it is more work for me to do, but if 1, 2, 3 of you lads enjoy these videos, then I'll keep doing it. I know I've been having some good comments from clients that work with me saying that they are enjoying it. It's probably a good cardio watch for them. So yeah, just thought I'd give you a bit of an insight anyway. But I'm going to wrap this YouTube video up here and get this edited tonight, get it out as soon as I can, because tomorrow I'll film my high day, which if any of you are dieting down on low food, you probably don't want to watch, because it is going to be a lot of food that I'll be eating. And then I've got some more YouTubes planned. So thank you for watching, guys. Any questions, let me know. Anything that you want to see me film and put out for you guys, please let me know, so that I'm putting out videos that you guys want to see as well. Just so that it's not seeming like very samey. So any videos you want to see, please pop below. Hope you all are having a fantastic week. If you're in the UK, enjoying the heat wave. I am absolutely fucking cooking at the minute. I'm going to get into check-ins and finish off the day strong with a couple of calls, green tea, and we rinse and repeat.